Joining me now is Dan Gordon, Israel Defense Forces Reserve Duty Captain, and Staff Sergeant David Bellavia. He received the Medal of Honor for his actions in the Second Battle of Fallujah, also author of the book, Remember the Ramrods. Dan, you have fought against Hamas. You're familiar with their tunneling and their tactics and their techniques. What should we expect here?
Well, I think that one of the main things that you should expect is that part of Hamas's battle plan, as insane as it sounds to a Western audience, is to inflict as much misery as possible on their own people. That's literally part of their battle plan. So the people who are out there protesting the misery of the Palestinian people don't realize they're supporting the very group that is causing that suffering. Is there anyone who actually believes that any of this would be going on if Hamas hadn't instituted a massacre of Israeli citizens on October 7th? The Israelis didn't wake up on October 6th and say, what's on the calendar for the next 3 weeks? Nothing. Let's go bomb Gaza. This is a plan of Hamas's. It is a plan to suck Israel into a battlefield in which they think they can grind up Israeli forces, and at the same time to delegitimize Israel and weaken it internationally by the use of what Lenin called useful idiots, who, as I say, in protesting in support of Hamas, are protesting for the very group that's planning the misery of the Palestinian people.
When you see that with the fabricated stories about the hospital bombing, you see that now with Israel releasing the fact that Hamas's headquarters are literally located underneath the largest hospital complex in Gaza. David, you've been on the front lines of some of the most ferocious fighting American troops have seen in Fallujah. If you were on the front lines of what we're seeing here, we're about to see, the initial incursion, what are Israeli troops facing? What does the urban combat look like that they're about to ensue?
There's a lot of chaos. And, you know, the hardest part here is that you want to imagine this like you're a cowboy trying to wrangle cows. You want to force the enemy where you want them. You want to push them out. You want to smoke them out of where they're trying to fix you inside of a building. They want to neutralize Israeli technology. So you want to dictate the fight. But those tunnels change everything. That sponge bomb that they're talking about, all that's going to do is try to eliminate them from popping up behind them. Israel wants to push in and keep the enemy in front. What they don't want is Hamas to jump behind them, and that's where it gets really chaotic.
Dan, did you train and plan for tunnel warfare? There are some reports, and they're just reports, that the IDF is having challenges accessing people who want to be a part of tunnel units. I mean, you can imagine how precarious that assignment would be. How do you train for tunnel warfare?
Israel has special units who are, especially the ones who are attached to combat engineers, who train for tunnel warfare, and almost the entire infantry trains for it in one form or another. But you're right as far as the challenges that you're talking about. You've got an enemy who hides underground, and what you were just saying is true, that Hamas's Pentagon is located underneath Shifa Hospital, which is the largest hospital in Gaza. So you've got an enemy that pops up, shoots at you, goes back down, and is trying to suck you into those tunnels to fight you there. And as your other guest just said, Israel's objective is going to be to try and get them up out of those tunnels and not go into the viper's nest.
So, David, let's promote you for a moment from Staff Sergeant to General. And let's set aside the strategic considerations of the balance of will Hezbollah get involved, the chorus of the international community. Those are all things we can speculate about, but we don't know. But if your job is the eradication of Hamas in, for now, the north of Gaza, how long does this take? How cautious are you? Does it surprise you? There's been a 3-week standoff since the attacks of October 7th. How do you take this on?
So, one of the things about Normandy Beach is you had Omaha, you had Juneau, you had all these multiple footholds is what Normandy was. The Normandy campaign took 35 days. But the foothold is what we talked about in D-Day. There's going to be a foothold into Gaza. But what you're seeing right now with these operations over the last 4 days are just trying to put multiple lanes into that city. You want to clear it of IEDs. Every time Israel drops a bomb, you've created more debris. And one of the things that you're seeing is a lot of these bombs are hitting roads, and you're getting all those IEDs.
Yeah.
Everything is wired to blow. They want to canal the IDF on the roads they want them to traverse. IDF has to make their own roads. And if they do this the way the UN wants, if this was 1944, Pete, we put a kid down there with a flamethrower, it's game, set, match. Hamas knows they can't win. Hamas is going to die. They are fighting a losing fight. They're there to kill as many Israelis as possible. And Israel's job is to be slow. This is going to last for over a month.
David, do you think, real quick, an exit question, Israeli troops will be given the rules of engagement, not loosened as vis-a-vis known civilians, but the ability to exact violence on their enemy?
I pray to God that Israel is allowed to defend their way of life and their country. That's this existential enemy. We fought it for 20 years, Pete. Let them win. I don't want our grandkids fighting the enemy that you and I had to fight. Israel is doing this job right now. For the love of God, just let them win.
There you go. Dan Gordon, David Bellavia, thank you both for your insight tonight.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.